Okay. Hopefully this works. All right, Brandon Kersey. Man, I think I tried to set this up the wrong way and try to let people know I was coming in and didn't get it done right. So anyway. Yeah, man, I made it home, messed up a bunch of stuff on my hours of service, but you know what? I'll be home at least 8 days, so it won't matter. So, you know what I'm about to do? I decided to come on here first, but I'm trying to come up with an easy recipe just to throw out on my cooking channel because it's been a while since I've had anything out there. So tonight is just going to be like a herb butter salmon foil packet with like asparagus, just something simple. Just boom, get that out there, and I have something good to eat. What's up, Larry? I know you're out there hooking up some barbecue right now, probably. What's up, Mark? Brandon, Kiersey. Definitely a win-win. So, man, I got home yesterday and I'm all tore up. My hair is going to be completely cut off. All of this is going to be cut off, but I just been too lazy. So I got home I dropped off a load in Cheyenne, Wyoming, the last exit before they shut the I-80 down at that Walmart distribution center out there. Dropped that off at I got there at 12:20. I was unloaded by about 4:30 or 5. Left there, dropped off my trailer at the Denver drop yard, got home, and then pretty much fell asleep and took my truck back to the yard a little bit later after that. So I'm just still kind of trying to relax, or still trying to get back into the swing of things, but it's good to be relaxing. I'm not sure if I'll be hitting Southern California too often anymore. I'm not sure about that. I don't mind running out there. Trucker Will, I know you've been going through some problems with your lease. Maybe you need to come on over and hit my fleet manager up because, man, I'm telling you, I was actually running too much this month, to be honest with you. I could have relaxed even more. So, Trucker Will, listen, go ask for James Wyckoff. That's the man right there. And you know, the loads, and I was looking at my figures and everything, and I'm not going to, I try not to put all this stuff out there, but I did want to be a little bit more transparent, not necessarily to people that are leasing so much as the people that are kind of thinking about it. And I've put out a bunch of warning videos and things like that. But, I ran almost exactly a month. And with what hit my account, and the only reason I know this is because I only touched $300 of it. There was there was $6,100 that hit my personal account, then 1,870 something that went into my emergency fund. So for a month in January where I sat quite a bit. I thought that was a good month. So, I mean, more than I was expecting, more than I really cared to have. I'm going to leave this home time without even going in the hole at all. Even if I stayed a couple weeks, I'll probably still be kind of all right. But I plan on leaving probably in about 8-9 days, something like that. Atlanta has the worst Petro ever. That Petro, I refuse to stop there. My trainer used to love going to that Petro for some reason, and that was the most. I mean, that's one of those Petros where you have to go there, or not Petros, but I mean, that's one of those truck stops where you have to go there with all the money or no money. Because if you go there with all the money, people are going to beg you out all the money you got. And if you go there with no money, then, I mean, like, I don't know. That's my worst truck stop right there. Petro in Atlanta. People trying, I mean, I admire the hustle, but it's a little, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of that place. There's another truck stop, Birmingham, where there was a guy that actually provided a service. He was out there. He wasn't begging for money, but he was helping people back in. And then when he helped them back in, he was asking them for some money. So at least he provided a service for that. So I don't know about the Blue Flame or none of that stuff. All I know is it was kind of a little difficult to park. And so, I mean, I never parked in there, but it just looked kind of like one of those places, but Kersey, if you stop at that truck stop in Atlanta, you're better than me. Like I said, I don't stop there. Last time I think I was out in Atlanta, I stopped a little bit. I don't know what the directions are out there, but they got some other truck stops that are a little further out that I kind of stop at that are kind of nice to hang out at. And like I said, as long as I do what I need to do, I'm fine with the little rest area myself. Oh, shit. James, I ain't been claiming smokers. That's one of my barbecue boys right there. Definitely putting it down. I did watch one of your videos a little bit ago, and it looks like you're thinning down a little bit. So good to go on that. You might need to run over to see my boy TNT Barbecue and tell him what pencil thin is for a brisket, because my boy was cutting that like it was meatloaf in his picture on Facebook. Like that thick. I was hoping to get some new people in here that were thinking about getting into trucking, because I've just seen a couple videos that popped up that I just wanted to address from a new person's perspective. I have watched your videos, Trucker Will. I watched them. You did one about kicking your ass, and then you did another one like you were looking for a fleet manager. A lot of times when I'm watching trucking channels on YouTube, I can't really, well, I'm not watching them, but I'm driving, so I can't really comment on them. Oh, anybody that's watching this, go check out Trucker Will. If I don't do it now, I'll probably do it in another video. Somebody that's leasing, so it's always good to see different perspectives and things like that. Trucking along with Kersey, perfect person to get some insight on being a company driver. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Trucker Will, I've been kind of watching your channel for a while, but like I said, I can't always comment on things. Boy, but I messed up my logs and everything. I had logs trying to get a little upset with me because I totally ran out of hours. I was running on personal conveyance, which is fine. But then when I started my truck the last time, I forgot to put it on personal conveyance. So I called them, and they were, well, you just need to shut down now. I was like, well, I can't do that. I'm sorry. So Anyway, I end up getting it back to, hey, does my beautiful wife want to come over here and get in the video just so everybody can see?
You really have a woman?
Well, I mentioned your ass enough. You should.
I'm real.
Yeah.
I gotta finish getting girlfriends.
All right. She's acting like I hide her below the stairs or some shit. I mention her all the time. I don't know what the deal is, but anyway. So I've been, before I go any further, I've been, there's trucking channels out there, and I think that some of these channels can be dangerous for different reasons. And I'm not talking about having different opinions, like you have some people that are pro company, you have some people that are pro lease, you have some people that are, pro owner operator, whatever. But there's channels like, there's a lot of these negative channels out there, which, I really don't concern myself with them because they're obviously, yes, well, I don't know. I mean, I hate to be showing this in a trucking channel, but I am on home time, so it's just, that right there. But I really don't focus too much on the negative channels because usually those channels, well, I'm not an owner operator, so I don't know about factoring companies, but some of these negative channels, I do think that you could fall down that rabbit hole and kind of fall into that negative mindset of some of those channels. And it really doesn't matter the name of those channels, but some of these other channels that have a level of credibility that are speaking on companies that they really don't know about, I do have an issue with those channels. So one of those channels, and I wouldn't do a video on them and put their name in the title because I wouldn't want anybody to think that it's clickbait or anything like that, but Smart Trucking is obviously a great channel, great content, all that stuff. And then Trucking Answers, another great channel, great, a lot of great information, but they're speaking about stuff that they don't know. And that's when it gets dangerous, is when you don't know anything about something that you're talking about. I have a problem with what a couple of the videos that those channels have done in regards to nothing that they don't, that they know. It would be like me talking about, talking negatively about owner operator stuff when I don't know anything about it. So those two channels have put out videos that I have problems with. And one of the channels, more so than another, the Trucking Answers, he does great live feed videos like every Tuesday. I'd recommend everybody go watch his channel, but sometimes he talks about things that he doesn't know about. And it'd be like me talking about his company, GP Transco or whatever it is, and then, throwing a negative light on that without knowing anything about it. So I don't cook in the truck just because of that smell. I have a generator that I could use an extension cord and hook it up to my inverter, but I have a generator that I could hook up. But I just went and bought a bunch of food that I could microwave that's not going to create as much funk in there. So my goal this next time I go out is to not buy anything at truck stops when I'm out this next time. That's my girl, Diane. It's been a while since I put a video out, but I was just out in your neck of the woods a while. That's Booger 500. My wife is all excited. That's Booger. She said hi. My wife said hi, Diane. She didn't say hi yet. I think she just said, oh, she said, well, she didn't say anything yet. She said, hello, beautiful. Oakland, Raider Nation, baby. We're going to reign. We're going to be back. We're coming back.
By the way, y'all, I'm from Kansas City. Just saying.
Yeah, she had to throw that in. Yeah, Diane, I'm gonna be hooking up some just an easy recipe to get my foot back in the water on this cooking channel. Just a herb foil or herb salmon foil packet with like asparagus, something tonight, just to get me back in. I think I might want to cut my hair and all this before I do the video, but I'm not 100% sure yet on that. Trucker Nene, actually, and this is another thing. I did a video on it, but I didn't upload it. And the reason I didn't upload it was I met this guy, Reggie, at the Springfield terminal, and we were talking and everything, and he made me think about this video, and I did the video, but right after that video, I was out by a driver lineup, and I was actually doing a pre-trip on my truck. Not getting too serious about it. I didn't do the whole brake check and all that, but I was doing a pre-trip on the truck, and some other people walked up and was just like, "Hey, are you like no hippie and all stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I'd already filmed my video, and I'd mentioned Reggie in this video, but I didn't want to do that video and have these guys think that I didn't mention them. But basically, the concept of the video was having your trucking network, and that's just people that you know in the trucking industry. And a lot of the people that I talk to are people that I went to orientation with that know, like, it seems like everybody that goes to orientation, they pick up different things from their different trainers, things like that, or just people that you know. I happen to be lucky that I know people from, my best friend has been, or not my best friend, but one of my best friends has been driving since '94, plus people I met on YouTube. So you have a wealth of knowledge in there for people that are just getting into trucking. Just meeting those people and actually getting their phone number. Because to be honest with you, when I went to orientation, I did not actually even concern myself with getting people's phone numbers. And there was a girl that I was in training with named Crystal, if she happens to be watching this, that got everybody's phone numbers and then passed them on. So now if I have questions, I have a group of people I could ask. I know I've asked Kiersey questions, trucking along with Kiersey. Subscribe to her channel. You see her on the chat. I know I've asked Trucker Nene just quite recently a question about fuel mileage, different things like that. So not that my fuel mileage isn't on point, because I was banging it out. I'm like top of the fleet now, kind of getting up there. So listen, Jeffro, if you're getting into trucking and you have a lot of people that that are in trucking, they're going to be a valuable resource for you. Because even stupid questions. There's even questions like I was driving, and I definitely, like, I'll be driving and it'll be like icy out, but I won't know how icy it is. So I'll like call somebody and ask them, how should I like kind of, how should I like drive on this? Because I almost want to stop and get out and feel the road to see how icy it is, because sometimes you don't really know. But if I had my other phone, Kirsty, I would show you what my fuel is, because it's all up in the green. I think I was like number 10 on my fleet manager's list, and I'm not trying to be number 1 like you. I'm just trying to be like up near the top, because I am going 65 like whenever I can. Yeah, I try to do the 58 and 61 and 62. I wasn't able to do it. Now listen, the last couple weeks, I was leaving my fleet manager. Well, the last load. Let's just take the last load. But the last load I had, my fleet manager was telling me that he would normally give this load to a super single, or like somebody that was in PSD or something like that might have some hours. But if I thought I was up to it, so I was like, I think I'm up to it. Now, I knew the weather was going to be getting bad coming out of Missouri. So not that 65 is going to change things much from 60, but I was trying to beat that snow out of there. So the entire time I was driving until I hit that snow, I was going 65 miles an hour just because I knew I was going to have to slow down once that snow hit. So let's see. The fuel mileage in my Pete, I think that when I first got that Peterbilt, I don't know what the problem was. Maybe it was like the person who was driving it before, or maybe it sat for a while. I'm not sure. But when I first got it, it was like barely doing, like if I was going 65, it wasn't even giving me like, I think it was like 7 or something crazy like that. But now, like I said, I've been still going, like I can't go less than 62. I just can't. Unless the weather's like that. But like I said, I've been at the top of the fleet, or at least my fleet manager's fleet. So in the green, whatever. Let me see. I think I have a picture of it. But I think I'm like in the mid 8s right now. So I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but or it's kind of reversed. But for the last week, I'm like number 12 in my fleet manager's fleet. And I think that's, I don't know. Let's go to the last 4 weeks. You know, so I mean, I'm doing well. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but I'm doing well. But sometimes, you know, it's just like, is me worrying about these cents like really helping? So here's a good example. And I know I was stressed out about this a few weeks ago, driving through Ohio, and I was driving like 61 or something like that. Because I really wasn't concerned about how fast I was going at that point, because I thought I was going to shut down soon. So I was driving like 61, you know, whatever. And 4 hours later, I'm still looking for a spot to pull into. So I barely got to a place, I mean, with like minutes left, like barely minutes left on my clock to pull in. And at that point, I was like, had I been driving 65, I'd have probably been able to have another, you know, let's say 4 hours. So I'd have had at least 12, 15 more miles to go to worry about the stuff. And it really did come down to that kind of timing on it. I don't know. I just used the macro 27 or whatever. But if I do find some good fuel, you know, I load it up. So I'm not trying to fuel up every, you know, I just listen to the macro 27. So whatever it says, I do it. Some people say don't fuel all the way up if it's on a Tuesday. I don't have a problem with it because I don't care about the stats as much as I care about the actual cost of the fuel. So like I said, you know, it was probably stupid, but I fueled up before I came here. It's going to make this week look bad, but the next week I come out, it's going to look good. To me, it all averages out. I don't know. So that's to me, money's money and fuel is fuel. You got to buy it either way. So when you buy it, doesn't really matter as much to me. If it's the stats, that's one thing. And the reason I did it, oh, somebody that has a name that fits me perfectly. What's up, handsome? But the reason I fueled up before I came here was I knew I had 3 loads that were going to hit when I was off. I had 3 loads that were going to hit when I was here, and I'd rather fuel up now when those loads are hitting than fuel up down the road. So anyway, for those of you people that are watching, actually, you know what? This is perfect for truck drivers. For those of you guys that are watching this chat, there's a channel here, Air Fryer Recipes with Booger 500. Listen, air fryers are perfect. You know, they're perfect for cooking in the truck. If you want recipes on how to cook in the truck with an air fryer, go out and buy an air fryer and look at her channel. Air fryer recipes with Booger 500. I'm telling you, she cooks everything in her air fryer. So if you're into cooking in your truck, that's who you need to look at right there. Click on her little picture, go to her channel. It's a done deal. She can hook you up on that. All right. You know what? Now I got people. Okay. The only reason I care about the stats is because I'm in the green. If I was in the red, I wouldn't care about the stats. Yeah. How many subscribers you have now, Booger? I put you on the map. I'm joking. But listen. Just to go back to these, I know, just to go back to what I was talking about. There's a lot of these channels that are putting stuff out that don't know anything about Prime, and that's all that I really have to talk about. So if you're thinking about coming to Prime, I'm not saying use me as a referral because I'm not at that point where I'm going to be accepting any free money from Prime for having you put me down as a referral. I will in a few months from now. But listen, take all the information you get. Don't just listen to what people are saying that don't work there because they have no idea of how good or bad it is. Now, if you talk to somebody that worked there, then that's something different. Now, I do understand that working at Prime is a very personal experience. There are people that left Prime because of bad trainers, and I believe that 100%. I do think that some of those situations could have been handled a little bit different, but okay. Yeah, well, now she's asking for referrals, but when I was asking, to use as a referral, people were acting like they were all shy and everything. Listen, Booger, it's not no dream. It's just a job. You know what I mean? If it was up to me, I wouldn't be doing anything. So to me, this is a less stressful way to make income and to handle things that I need to handle in the future. If I could do it and not have a job, that would be exactly what I'd be doing right now. So, yeah, Reggie, that's what I'm saying. I just mentioned you earlier in the video. I was out there eating my taco salad when I met you. It is a big change. Oh, that must be that's a Prime app. That's something from Prime. But, you know, I've watched, some videos from Prime where some people had left Prime, and there were a couple channels where they'd left Prime. And one was kind of talking a little bad towards Prime, and the other one was basically keeping it real. I left Prime for these reasons or had to leave for these reasons. And well, I mean, those are just two, but one was the guy basically said he had 12 critical events, and I don't remember what it was, but anyway, 12 critical events were mentioned in this. Now, to get a critical event, you have to go out of your way almost to get a critical event. And I think they asked him to do another 30,000 miles or something like that on the truck, and he decided not to, and went to a different company where he ended up getting more critical events and problems and stuff. But I'm not even sure that Prime has necessarily the best training in the world or the worst training in the world. I think that definitely is more of an individual situation because, like I said, I could have, if it was me dealing with my first trainer, I could have ended up leaving Prime and having the same issues and stuff or, you know, problems that a lot of people are having with Prime. The difference is, I think that being a little bit more mature in age than people, I just looked at that as being a specific problem that could be handled rather than me looking at the entire company through that lens, I guess you could say. But the Prime has a problem with trainers, and I'm not going to sugarcoat that at all. I think that there are certain things they could do to change up the training program to get people that actually have a little bit more experience to train, to get them to train, and to have people that are training kind of have a more standard practice of training, I guess. All right, Booger, I'll be doing a video later on tonight, so I'll see you later. Yeah, so the funny thing about it is I went from like the worst trainer I could have been with to the best trainer I could have been with. And I know in that video that I'd said, a lot of people think they could back or, whatever. I'm not saying that a lot of people can't back or aren't even actually excellent backers. In that video, and I look back at it, I was like, man, people are going to be pissed off at me about this. But it wasn't necessarily, I think there's a lot of people that can put a trailer in a hole or do it very easily. But when I was mentioning my trainer was just so cool about it. You just can't back as cool as my trainer did. And he wasn't doing it like, I think there's a difference with like some people will go up there and they'll be like, okay, I'm going to go here and I'm going to go a half a length past the cab, and then I'm going to go hard right, then I'm going to go hard left, I'm going to straighten it out, and I'm going to pull up, and then I'm going to do this. No, my boy just came in, boom. First of all, as soon as we were pulling up, about to like get into his setup, he had to have his black and mild lit. So he'd light up his black and mild. He'd roll down the window. And I don't know why you have to have the window rolled down and the door open, but he rolled down the window and the door open, and then he just like did it. And it wasn't no point. I mean, it was just like, and he was taking spots that people were passing up. Like we never worried about parking when we had to at any time of night because all the hard spots he was bagging in them. It was like, it was not that he just got it there. It was just how cool he was getting it in there. Well, yeah, the trucker, I understand that. But here's the thing. There was no being friends with this trainer that I had on many different levels. And I didn't mention this in other videos, but since this is a video that's not going to be basically about a specific trainer, first of all, he was trying to talk to me like I was 4 years old. That was a problem in itself. Second of all, the overall hygiene of the truck was a problem. And I'm not talking about, listen, one of the advantages of being a guy in trucking is that you can just piss in the bottle. I don't have a problem with that. But when you're storing the shit like you're going to be selling it on the black market, I got a problem with that. I got a problem with, I'm at a Walmart distribution center where they have a nice, restroom and all that stuff. And rather than just deciding to go in there and drop logs like you're, Paul Bunyan, you do that in the bucket in the truck and then leave it there for when I come in there. So now I got problems with that. And that's even the small stuff. I mean, I could live with some of this stuff, but the whole well, first of all, I was never going to learn how to back on his truck. That was one thing. Secondly, like I said, shitting and pissing all over the place in the truck, and then encouraging me to do that while I was at the terminal, and getting upset with me that I decided to walk in the terminal and waste 3 minutes of doing that as opposed to just doing it, you know, on the, behind the, by the catwalk, just to save us that extra 2 minutes. It just made no sense to me. So uh, I'm thinking, I've been contemplating on when and if I plan on ever training anybody. Uh, it would come down to I'm gonna at least do one. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be capable of doing more than that. I'm gonna need more experience, obviously, than that. But I'm not gonna need 4 years of experience like some people out there are saying that you need to train people. Well, I don't think they need to clean house on their trainers. It's sort of like this. It's sort of like having kids at your fucking house. If you don't fucking like tell them what they need to do and actually enforce it, then they fucking run a fucking muck. So I think that's the problem with the trainers, as opposed to, sometimes you just need to like tell them, here's the deal. Here's what you got to do. And no, I don't think it needs to be rainbows and unicorns and all that stuff. I definitely don't think that, but I do think that there needs to be some. First of all, there needs to be a standard of, there needs to be a standard level of what needs to be done as far as expectations during the training. And then there does need to be a certain level of like personal, and I'm not even talking about personal hygiene. I do think that that would be great, but you know, could you at least take a look at the trainer's truck before you put somebody on it? I mean, really, because you can't be in a you cannot be in a safety meeting saying something like, you know, having all this stuff on your dashboard and all this stuff, and you know, having inspections and all this stuff, and then having your trainers like portray that exact, thing. It just doesn't make sense to me. No, 63 isn't too old to get into trucking. I think I was in training with somebody, or somebody that actually was just around that age that came in right after me. All right, Larry, how long you been driving anyway? Don't slip on those bus drivers. There's a guy that came to Prime that drove trucks before he got into Prime, and he left because he retired from driving trucks or buses. And then he came to Prime and had a problem with his trainer, left, went to work with Werner, actually got things finished there, but then he went to Cisco. And he was making all the money at Cisco. I'm just telling you, no lying. Everybody knows Cisco's paying, but he was doing local. And he's like 50 years old like me, and he got out there and unloading all them boxes. He's like, you can't do it. So he was thinking about going back to the local bus driving job, or just going back kind of regional over the road. Well, that makes sense. They would be inspected like at least once, but I think at least every time you pick up a trainer or a trainee, should you say. Well, that's good, Eagle. See, getting people them licenses, that should be pretty rewarding right there. Pittston, February 10th. If Pittston doesn't teach you anything, you better learn to be a good backer because they have no space when you're trying to park anything at Pittston. So pay attention during them backing maneuvers. Yeah, my boy that worked at Cisco, he worked in San Francisco too. So he was up and down all them high ass roads, and like I said, he was making a bunch of money, but it was just not not worth it. But let's talk about my Peterbilt. I was gonna do a video about that, totally separate from this. Listen, I don't have my notes in front of me. Man, maybe I shouldn't even talk about it now. I'm not even sure if I could drive a Freightliner anymore. All right. Anyway, I might have to wait for the video because I want to have all my points out there. Well, it sounds like Highway Honey has a really good trainer right now. As far as money to bring with you during orientation, it depends on what terminal you go to and all that different kind of stuff. But, at the what terminal are you going to? That would help me answer that question a little bit better because Salt Lake City, I think, would be a bit different than either of the other two terminals. One thing I could tell you, and this is no joke, I mean, I can maybe speak a few things about the Peterbilt. First of all, you're not going to lose any teeth driving the Peterbilt around because it's not going to be shaking you to death. But I used to not like driving at night, and I just realized since I got this Peterbilt, it wasn't that I didn't like driving at night. I just didn't like driving in dark at night. And the Peterbilt's headlights are like 20% better on regular, 30% better on high beam. So it's a totally different experience driving at night. That plus just the interior is just a little bit more Cadillac-ish, longer wheelbase. Just that's a whole separate video. But money to orientation. See, so because I'm not seeing Pittston. I don't know. In Salt Lake City, a lot of people did all their training on the pad, which is what I did. So what they gave you was $200 a week that was basically a loan, but they fed you 3 times a day. I never took the money, so I don't know, if you go out with the trainer, I'm not sure what a lot of that's going to depend on what the trainer is going to be spending money on or what he's going to expect you or she is going to be expecting you to buy. So it's hard to say how much money to bring. I mean, I probably wouldn't go anywhere with less than, $500. I mean, probably. Jeffro, you got to ask Kiersey that question. I don't know about the choosing your truck. So any company drivers out there, if you go company, can you choose the truck or do you just have to pick whatever they give you? Now, I just know that when I got my truck, there weren't any 2020 Ultraloft Peterbilts out there. I happened to be, first on the list when I got there. So I got that. But right now, it seems like the selection is pretty standard. So right now, if you're going refrigerator, it seems like all the, I just looked at the list this morning. There's one Volvo, a bunch of Freightliners, and a bunch of Internationals. I didn't see any Peterbilts on there lately. Tell you what you don't want to do is, I think I'm done going to the Springfield terminal unless I need some work done, or not Springfield, Salt Lake City, unless I need some work done or something like that, because until they get it built up, you pull in there. First of all, it takes you a good 40 minutes to go through inbound. Then once you go through 40 minutes of inbound, then there's no really decent showers, none of that stuff. Then it's going to take you however long to park, if you can find a place to park. Then once you find all that, then you're all hungry, and they ain't got no food there. So they got plenty of truck stops around there that I'm probably going to stop at rather than going into that Salt Lake City terminal. Yeah, they got a Volvo up there. They had two of them. Looks like somebody picked a Volvo, so there's only one left right now. Has anybody been watching Crazy Bags lately? I'm not sure. Is he still out there, or where's he at right now? I've been away from YouTube for a while, so if somebody could kind of update me on that situation, that'd be great. Yep. Okay. Never mind. My wife filled me in. I guess she's watching trucking channels more than I am. Oh, so did Highway Honey get a new trainer, or what's going on with that?
No.
Huh?
No.
Okay. My wife knows all this stuff, so I don't know. Highway Honey went home for a little bit because his dad had an emergency. Oh. Okay. I did meet him when I was out at Salt Lake City. Well, he's a good trainer. If you happen to get him when you're out there, definitely good trainer, from what it seems. Yeah, I thought he'd be back by now. Jeez. Well, like I said, I'm going to be telling my fleet manager, listen, because I looked on my app, it said I was going to be available like the 23rd. So when he calls me, I'm going to be like, don't call me. I'll call you. I'll probably come back out in like 9 or 10 days. I'm not sure, but you know what? There's a flatbed trainer Prime. I'm not sure what his name is. Man, I wish I remembered him. He was so good because he used to come and pick us up at Salt Lake every now and then. He had the Oregon Ducks like logos on the side, and he's been in these truck driving championships and stuff like that. I don't remember his name, but man, he was good. And he's the one that he used to always tell me, I think you're coming in a little hot, because they used to always kind of come up them off ramps a little fast, and he used to always, or coming into turns a little fast, but man, he was good. Patient too. I think Kiersey is a good trainer too, but I think she might be taken here a little bit. She's gonna have her boo on the truck.
Huh?
Kiersey?
Yeah.
her boyfriend's going to be on the truck with her, so she's not going to be able to train.
You're not training nobody's.
I didn't say I was going to be training. I mean, I'd train anybody. Should I just need to train one person just to get it out of, just to pay it forward.
Yeah.
My wife said I'm not training any women.
And it's gonna be a couple years before you train anybody.
And now my wife is putting my training schedule out there for everybody. So anybody that was out there on I-80, I know that Nene said go wifey, but as soon as she realizes that the away from home schedule could be condensed a little bit, she might change her mind on that. But anybody out there on I-80 that was having problems, because I almost got shut down on I-80 delivering that Walmart load, but it delivered right before they shut the road down out there. Ramon, as far as tankers go, I don't know tankers from I really don't know anything about tankers, or how much they make, how many miles they get, difference between lease and company, none of that stuff. I did see a video that somebody that is a tanker. As a matter of fact, I just watched it. He's in tanker division. Is a lease driver that used to be company. Let me see if I can find his channel. John Ogren or something like that. Let me see. It's this guy right here.
Do a video on a bit of a pet peeve of mine, and this goes to a question that I get asked fairly regularly about the difference between company driving and lease operators, and it really deals with the question of, well, do you get a lot of miles? Do you get enough miles? How many miles do you get?
Anyway, that guy, John Ogren, basically the premise of his video is everybody keeps asking him how many miles he gets, and he's not concerned about the miles because he's a lease driver, so miles don't really matter, blah, blah, blah. So anybody just jumped in, just completed my first basically month lease with Prime, and everything's going all good. Couldn't be happier with my decision with that. Oh, so he's in reefer now? Okay. But build up your trucking support network. I'm telling you, I've asked some dumbass questions of people. And like I said, I've been lucky. I've been lucky that I've had a friend that's been driving since 94. I've been lucky that I've had people that I was in orientation with. I've been lucky that I've met people on YouTube. But even last week, just asked stupid questions like, if I drop off a load at the terminal that's supposed to go somewhere else, am I supposed to do whatever it was, like a depart or like a arrived at location? I mean, whatever it was just a stupid question that I had no idea of what to do on it. And having that support system allowed me to do that. Having that support system allowed me to ask a question of somebody. Listen, these are kind of what the roads are looking like. What mile per hour would you be rocking this at right now? So it's just as many people as you can meet in this, that you can meet that are in trucking is gonna it's going to help you down the road. Whether they're with the company that you're with, that's obviously going to help a little bit more because there could be some specific questions, or just in general. So build up that network. Elton, for those of you guys, see some of these people are peeking their heads in from my cooking channel. If you see Elton's barbecue pit there, this is a guy from, it's been a while. As a matter of fact, Elton, I'm you wearing your shirt that you gave me years ago. This was like, what, 4 years ago you gave me this camouflage shirt? He's from like, where are you from, Elton? Is it Norway, Sweden? Dang, I forget where he's from. Anyway, he gave me this like camouflage shirt years ago. Man, it's good to see him again. Norway. I knew it was one of them cold ass countries out there, but Elton's been holding me down for years. I mean, I think he like was subscribed to my channel when I had my cooking channel when I had like 4,000 subscribers or something crazy. This has been years ago. It's definitely good to see him around. Elton, I'm not going to be barbecuing this time when I'm back home. It's just too much work, and it's a little chilly out here. So I'm going to probably be doing most of my stuff indoors. Or I might do some smoked salmon, you know, now that I'm thinking about it. You did have that good smoked salmon recipe up there. I got salmon I'm going to be cooking tonight, so who knows.
You're good. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
See, it's not just when it's winter. It's like winter. Well, it's actually warm out there right now. The problem is I just got back in town. I don't have any charcoal. I don't have any wood pellets. I should buy them this time to be prepared next time when I come back because I don't have anything ready to do anything. But I'm thinking about doing like some foil packets, you know, herb, salmon, and asparagus, and then doing some cashew chicken, and then some pork medallions and like a herb cream sauce or something for like the next one. Just all easy videos for this next week. What's biggest surprise in trucking? The biggest surprise in trucking, it wasn't a surprise, but it's the biggest thing for me to deal with.
Being away from your wonderful wife.
Being away from my wonderful wife and taking a shit in public around her. I'm joking. actually, now that I've been, you know, getting a bunch of shower credits, I don't have to do that as much. But anyway, let's see.
You're so dumb.
Actually, you know, it's the biggest surprise in trucking, okay? The biggest surprise in trucking is, to be honest with you, and this is serious.
Now I'm the fur baby's favorite.
Well, yeah, now the dogs love her more than me, which, you know. Actually, to be honest with you, there's a couple different things that are like serious. So the first was how fast paced it was, because I don't know what my concept was or how I thought that the loads were going to be coming across, but I just didn't think I had no idea how fast the business was. So I didn't think that, okay, you get this load and then you drive it wherever you're driving it, then you drop it off, or even before you drop it off, you already have a load going wherever else you're going without knowing any idea where you're going. So I don't think that I had that. Like, I had no idea that you would just like not know where you were going until like then. I didn't know that you could make this, it's not, you know, I think I underappreciated the amount of money that you could make in this business. So that was a little unexpected. And then, am I happy with the change? Here's the thing. There's a bunch of different ways to look at this. This driving a truck is so many hours a day, and I don't think that when I look at it, I don't look at it like truck drivers look at it. I think truck drivers look at it like I'm driving, I'm working like this many hours a day. To me, from the day I leave the house to the day I come back, I count all them hours as work hours. And if I was to work those exact hours, so 24 hours a day, or even the 14 hours a day, but let's say that you work 14 hours a day, I think that from a money standpoint, you would be doubling or tripling up what you'd be making in my past business, in this business. But is it sustainable? That's the problem. Is the more business you get in the last business I was at creates even, like, it's a fine line. The business I was in before, you stress out when you're not doing enough business. There's this fine, happy medium, which you barely meet. And then you get more business in that, and it creates a whole bunch more stress. So, I just knew I wasn't going to be able to sustain that. I don't think I'm going to be doing this for a long term. I'm just trying to do what I need to do, get in, get out, as long as that takes. But I need to get things set before, like, I'm goal oriented. The worst thing you could be as a truck driver is unfocused without a goal. And that's where you find these people. Hold on, let me read these comments. That's where you find people in these truck stops that have these 1,000-yard stares and shit. Like I honestly did not almost get into trucking because I went to a truck stop. I was talking to my friend that's been driving since '94, and he said, just go to a truck stop and, just hang out there for a while. So, I'd done that with him when he came through town, but it'd been like several years because since then he's became an owner operator, and he just drives heavy haul between Alabama and North Carolina. So he's just like, go in there, just get a feel of it. So I go into this truck stop, and I'm sitting in this Denny's, and I'm looking around, and I see these truck drivers. They have this like 1,000-yard stare on them, and it's like I just got this feeling like that cannot end up being me right there. Yeah, whiskey. And I think that without a goal, you end up with a lot of truck drivers that make a lot of money that end up with nothing. And that is my biggest fear. So my advice to anybody that's watching this, whether you're in trucking, about to get in trucking, or whatever, is you have to have a goal and something to make this worth it. Because in reality, this is not worth it. This is not worth the sacrifice if you do not have a goal set in place to actually move things forward in the future. There's nobody that could tell me working 14 hours a day, actually 14 hours a day, being gone a month or 3 weeks, a month and a half at a time without having a plan would be worth it. I just don't see it. So it can be worth it if you have, if you sacrifice this time, sort of like the military. That's what I keep looking at it like, is if you look at it like the military, you're putting in all this time, it's a totally different mindset, but you're actually working towards something. As long as you have a goal at the end, what you're going to plan on doing with all this stuff, then it makes sense. But what ends up happening is you get all these people, and there's several YouTube channels you could look at that have been truck drivers for years and years that were unfocused, that are out here trying to tell people how to do stuff, that are still renting a crappy house wherever, or they have no focus, that have nothing, that are now trying to tell people how to do stuff. There's examples out there of what happens if you're not focused on things. And you probably know the channels that I might be referring to in this, but you don't want to be one of them. You want to leave this with something. And there are several channels out there that can show you what you can do if you focus yourself on this, whether you're doing a company situation or a lease situation. So if you happen to be watching this and you're leaning towards the company side, that would be Trucking Along with Kiersey could show you how to pay off $70,000 in debt within 2 years. If you happen to be leaning a little bit more towards the lease side, Trucker Day Nate can show you how to make, how to put $11,000 a month away, doing that situation. So there's a bunch of different ways you can put this, or you can find inspiration. So anyway, that's about that. Just I'm not even sure if I'm going to film this video, to be honest with you, this cooking video later on. I might just cook it to cook it.
You're still gonna cook the salmon though, right?
Yeah, I might do a video on it though. What I need to do is I was going to cook some salmon and then just whip up some herb butter and then throw it in like a foil packet with some asparagus, wrap it up, and then just cook it for like 20 minutes on 400, just to do something simple, easy, something like that.
I will roll on by.
That was Elton.
No.
Who? Who are you talking about?
Hey.
Tell who to roll on by. Oh, she's like in Utah or some shit. Where are you at, Nene? I know you got some bad weather because, man, listen, people are talking about, now, here's one thing I will tell you. When people are like, rookies training rookies. Now, I do think that there's an extreme level that Fort Worth, so Texas, there is, so you have an extreme level where people are saying, you got to have like 4 years, 10 years, 20, whatever the number is. But one thing I can tell you is it's not like my level right now, because I was coming through this entire week, I was coming through Wisconsin, Chicago. What the fuck is that city? Des Moines, Lincoln, Cheyenne. I was going through all these places with all this damn ice. And I was just like, listen, even if, I was calling people asking for advice. How fast should I be doing this? Whatever. I was able to look at other truck drivers and understand that, I have better equipment than 90% of people out here. So whatever they're doing, I could probably, still match that. Not that I'm trying to do exactly what they're doing, but, I did realize that, you do realize that, there is a bit to learn when it comes to that. And not that, not that I'm sitting there afraid to do it, but then I look at it and I'm like, okay, well, who are these drivers that are driving 70 miles an hour down ice, putting their truck in the ditch? These are all the, 15-year drivers. Everybody's saying, oh, that's who should be training. So, it's hard for me to gauge who will be the best trainer. The person that still has a little bit of respect for the road, or somebody that's so comfortable with it, they're just, driving crazy. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, you were always good at that smoked salmon, Elton. Like I said, this is going to be a hotter and faster type salmon. I'm not sure if I'm going to. I probably will not film this tonight. I'll probably start filming some stuff tomorrow during the day when the sun's out and all that kind of stuff. Exactly, Jeffro. The porn stash could be coming back. It's getting that thick. Except I might bring it down to about here. So be like, yeah. I would do like a brisket or some beef short ribs or something like that. But man, that's an obligation when you're just only have a little bit of time at home and you're out there spending the entire day watching all that. I was hoping that some people were coming on that were asking some questions about Prime earlier, or not just Prime, just questions in general, but they're not here right now, so I can't answer them questions. I sold my Traeger, but I have a Z-Grills pellet smoker. I have a Camp Chef pellet smoker. I have a 26-inch Weber kettle grill. I have a Camp Chef flat top griddle with the flame top grill. I have a Weber Smoky Mountain. I have a what's that barrel grill? I have a bunch of them. I have a Masterbuilt electric smoker. Hold on a second. What kind Man, the only tips I have when coming to Prime is one, if you can afford to not take a Greyhound, don't take a Greyhound. That's number one. Two, if your recruiter tells you they're going to reimburse you, don't believe them. Three, just go in there with an open mind and just do that. What's up, Highway Honey?
Mason's at work.
So, I mean, those, here's the way I had to look at it. And it really depends on where you're at in your life. Coming to Prime as a 21-year-old and coming to Prime as a 51-year-old, they're two totally different two totally different experiences. So what I had to do was I had to look at it like at 21 years old, like when I went in the Marine Corps, it was like I had no other plan B. That was all it was, and I just had to make it work. The problem with going into trucking at 51 is I have plan A, B, C, D, F, G, H. I mean, I didn't need it. So I had to kind of put myself in a mindset like I needed to do it. So it's hard to say, what to do. I would say listen to people, number one, and then, just be as safe as you can along the way. All right, so the question is, what is the average time from day one till you get your own truck? So I ended up staying on my trainer's truck a lot longer than I had to. At the time that I went to Prime, it was 30,000 miles that you had to do with your TNT trainer. So the day that I got there was March 5th. And then I got my CDL on April 1st. Now, that was a little bit longer than what is typical, but the pipeline in Salt Lake City was a little bit longer. So that took, it shouldn't have taken that long, but it did take that long. So April 1st, I think I had my 30,000 miles in would have been like June 15th. Well, let's see if so it was about June 15th. I would have had my 30,000 miles. From that time, I realized that I just wanted more training, not because I was scared or anything like that. I just felt that I was in no rush. Like there was no reason for me to rush. So I went ahead and said, okay, I'm going to stay with my trainer a couple more months. So that would have been around August. And then around August, I was like, okay, well, I plan on doing a lease. I don't want to start a business till the beginning of the year. So I was going to stay on till January. So in the end, I ended up staying on my trainer's truck for almost 8 months. So with 50,000 miles, how long would it take for you to do it? So I'm going to say that, I can't talk about me and my trainer because we were like running and gunning, but I would say the average TNT trainer is going to be running about 5,000 miles a week. So that's going to be 10 weeks. So in 10 weeks, so 10 weeks of running. So you got 10 weeks plus it's going to take you about another 3 weeks. So say 13 weeks. It'll probably take you 13, 15 weeks to get out there on your own. But it all depends on your trainer, how long you plan on going on home time, how long they plan on going on home time, all this different kind of stuff. So it's really hard to say. At 42, especially if you're saying that you have no other options, it's a lot of good money. I mean, I'm just telling you that there are people that are coming out here changing their lives. And I won't wear that headset. Let's just go ahead and mention that now because a lot of people watching this don't know. But if you see me out in public wearing my wireless, headset in public, that's $20 that you can win right off the bat. That is one trucking thing I will not fall into right there. And for all you guys that don't know, from the time I upgraded, went back to Springfield upgrade, that was December 2nd. So I just got home. So that was December 2nd to the 18th. So that was what? That was a long time. And I don't plan on staying out that long. So, you know, I'm not sure what my schedule is going to be, but it's not going to be a month and a half at a time. Biggest fear on the road would be wind by itself is not the problem. Would never be a problem. The ice with the wind is the biggest. So snow is not a problem to me, you know. But if you like compound ice with wind, that's when you start having a problem. When the wind is blowing your trailer and that, you know. So ice even in itself isn't a problem if you handle it correctly, but wind you just never know. So that, yeah, he's correct about that. And another biggest problem is being away from your beautiful wife. She didn't even hear me say that, so that wasn't even worth it. Oh, she did hear me. Okay.
What?
Huh?
What'd you say?
I said one of the biggest problems was staying away from my beautiful wife. Like, I can't even believe it. But I just suffered through it. I know Elton does some driving out in Norway and all that snow, and his like he does some rescue type stuff if I remember correctly. Anyway, yeah. And Nene, this goes completely against what I was talking to you about before, but I wasn't expecting this. You know, this and all, but anyway. Anyway, I didn't even think she heard me when I said that last little stupid thing. So yeah, I really do need to start focusing back on that cooking channel because that channel has just been totally neglected. Yeah, I barely made it back home after dealing with all you guys out in West Virginia. Actually, some of the nicest people I met was in West Virginia. It took me completely by surprise. It was like, is there a city by like West Virginia and Ohio or something like that? Like right there? I think it was West Virginia. I'm pretty sure it was West Virginia. But I was getting a washout out there, and these guys look like totally like the people that they probably wouldn't be like. As far as driving in the snow, listen, I'm the type to be driving in the snow whenever it snows too, but it's different out there when, you know, if it was just the truck, but you're worried about that trailer getting out of control, and then it's not just that. Okay, here's a good example. So just on I-80, as soon as I got off at the truck stop in, I think it was exit 363 or 353 in Nebraska, right behind me, there was a truck that was trying to, and I heard this on the CB, there was a truck trying to pass another truck, jackknifed, took out both trucks. So one truck was doing the right thing and felt comfortable driving in the snow at his speed. Another one was going by trying to be a super trucker, took both of them out. So a lot of times it has nothing to do with how good you drive or how good you feel you could drive. It's these other people out there. And like I said, I don't get scared of what cars are doing out there. Cars do stupid shit, and it is what it is. I've never felt in fear of my life because of what a car did, but I have felt in fear because of what another truck has done. As far as, let's see. So anyway, I was in West Virginia, and I was like, I was getting a trailer washout, and these people looked like they were like, not the people that would be like saying, so welcoming, should I say. So I pull up in there and, tell them what I need, and they're just like, well, come on in. So I go on in, and they're like, doing the paperwork to get the trailer washed out, and I'm like, I forget what they say, but anyway, I was like, man, you got a big lot out here. I was like, you could make a lot of money out here, having truck drivers park out here overnight because there's like no parking around. Well, listen, buddy, anytime you want to park here, just bring your truck on in here. Just let me know and you'll be fine all night. And I was like, man, I was just like, sometimes, if there's one thing that I've learned in trucking is that a lot of preconceived notions that I might have had that people would have had against me aren't necessarily what they are. So I have, that has been a good thing that I've learned along the way. I don't have chains on my truck. I'm thinking about buying some just to have them, but I got snow socks, which actually were, I think, invented somewhere out in Norway or Sweden or something like that, auto socks. And a lot of people don't even use them. A lot of people are like, if you need chains, then don't use them. And a lot of times you just need chains to get over that one hill, and then you're good to go. So I think if I buy something that I'm actually apt to use just to get over that one hill and get moving, then it's paid for itself that one time. So I don't think I would put chains on, but I will definitely put these auto socks on, especially if it's just to get over one hill or so. I'll probably be out in another 9 days or something like that, 8-9 days. Well, I wanted to have some more rookies in here. Just tell them some of my rookie mistakes when backing and stuff like that. Because that is, just let people know that there's no new people in here, though, to really. Boy, because I got embarrassed at a place trying to back up one time. Woo! Mm-hmm. I'll sleep at a customer if they say they have, sleeping, actually, I would prefer to do that. My biggest blooper so far was probably when I was with my trainer, and we were actually, you know what? There was one that happened with my trainer, but it was one that was when I was by myself. But actually, I did a video on that. I never posted the lot lizard thing. We'll get to that. But I was at a place where I had to put this trailer in, and you almost had to jackknife it to get it in. And the problem was I wasn't used to jackknifing a trailer to get it in. So every time I kept trying to jackknife it in, I was like jackknifing it too much. And anyway, I finally got it in, and I was like all embarrassed because there were people sitting around. And then when I was sitting there, I noticed that the next 3 or 4 people that came in were having the same problem getting that in. So that was, an issue. as far as the lot lizard thing is, now I personally haven't seen any. I've talked to a bunch of people that said they haven't seen any, and I think that when it comes to this whole lot lizard thing, it's almost like, you know, they say a crack dealer will, or a crackhead will always find a crack dealer. So I kind of look at that kind of the same way. But I will tell you where all the begging people are down south. That's you know. Well, Bruce, my trainer let me back a lot, but I think I had a good idea of. I mean, I had a good sense of backing when I got out there, but like I said, when I was back with my trainer, it was a lot of pressure because, and I keep saying it, people are, you know, I don't want to sound like, you know, whatever, but my trainer was like the best backer ever. You know, people could say they back good, whatever, and there are people that put it in, but they don't back like him. And just the pressure of backing with, you know, somebody that's so natural at it, that's always trying to tell you tips. It's almost like Michael Jordan telling you how to do something. It's not easy to translate. So I might be trying to do it a little bit more classical way. Like, okay, and I'd be doing it the nerd way. Okay, all right. You know, my boy's like, you know, he's not even looking. He's just in. So, you know, there's a lot of pressure when you're backing with somebody like that. So I knew how to back when I left him, but I didn't really get my own technique until I was done with him because I could not conform to that level of backing.
Cool. Just admit it. You were afraid. You didn't want to try it with him because you didn't want to not look as cool as him.
Yeah. And I wish I would have taken some videos of it, you know, because when I say it, people just don't understand how. Like I said, there's only been one person that I've seen that backed as cool as him, and it was an Indian guy that was driving a Peterbilt 389 that was wearing skinny jeans and all this stuff, and he basically backed up and he was standing half inside of his truck and half on the steps, and he backed up like, you know, that was the only person I seen do it cooler than him, you know. So Elton, even if I had a shotgun in my truck, I couldn't tell you just because that would be illegal and or not. Well, I don't know if it's illegal, but you couldn't do that at most of these companies out here. So yeah, that's the problem with being in the trucking industry out here would be lack of protection. And I've never had anybody try to get in my truck. See, that's the problem is getting frustrated with people. I mean, getting frustrated with somebody over backing is like so. I mean, what would you expect? I mean, that is like an incredibly hard thing to do. And for somebody to just think it's that simple to get frustrated about, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, there's people that have been driving for like years that still don't really have a good concept of backing. So well, if people back into, or if somebody tries to break into my truck while I'm sleeping, unless they have a gun, I got something for them. A little shock therapy. Yep, you can't do that. That's what I'm saying. I'm taking advantage now because I can't take advantage over the road. Tess Cooks for You, another YouTube cooking channel. She's got to have hundreds of thousands of subscribers right now. Go check out Tess. She's hooking up some good food over there. Yeah, Jeffro, that flashlight with the taser is the bomb. I got to make sure I got that charged up at all times. I heard that might be illegal in some states, but I'm just not, there's some things I would not mind getting fired over if it came down to. Yep, you're right, Rich.
That made me think of a set of tires, Mason set of tires. I'll let you not pay me back if you let me tase you.
Yeah, they say the whole thing, rather be, what is that? Judged by 12 than carried by 6, something like that. So is there anybody here from Prime still? Kiersey, fucking Nene just had a question about some trailer type shit. What's up, Cindy? Yeah, there's Gray right there. It's about to be knocked down. Listen, if you're 21 years old about to come to Prime, I'm going to tell you this right now. Now, personally, I'm going to just tell you, I couldn't get into trucking at that age. I had to have everything set before I got into trucking. Now, but if you can get into trucking at 21 without any financial bad habits or anything, listen, you can retire like by the time you're 35, 40, something like that. If you do the right shit, And that doesn't mean live in your truck all day. You get, make some financial moves, real estate, stuff like that. Listen, you were in a great position. 21 years old, knock it out the park. So anyway, Nene, here's something to bring to the driver advisory board. Prime Inc. is a company. Here's what I see problems with Prime when it comes to some of these damn trailers getting washed out and stuff like that. So you go to the terminal, you pick up a trailer, the trailer's all shitty, hasn't been cleaned out. The problem with it, and I think I don't know if we mentioned this or not, but the problem is if you've been driving 8 hours, 9 hours, you pull into the terminal, it's taking an hour and a half to get through inbound, or let's say something realistic. 45 minutes is realistic to go through inbound. Now you want to wash the trailer out, but then you see 3 trucks in, you see three trucks waiting for that. So now you're talking about another hour and a half. I mean, I don't know what people are expecting. I mean, I've sat through that to do it, but I just dropped one off the Denver terminal that wasn't clean that, I could have, but I was just like, no. Sorry. At some point, Anyway. If we could have a standard procedure on what to do with some of this, it might be a little bit better, and getting us through inbound and outbound might be a good start at that. I don't know. Anybody have any questions for Taco Truck Lover? I haven't been in the tunnels in Springfield, and I really don't care to be there either, unless it pays real good. See, Jared, sometimes it's not what you know, it's what you can show people you know. So just about any trucking company is going to want you to put some time in training at some point. Elton, 8 hours, you could drive in a row. After, up to 8 hours, you need to take a 30-minute break, and then you can go 3 more hours. So a total of 11 hours in a day of driving with the 3-hour break somewhere in there, with a total of 14 hours. 14 total hours in a day you could work, but only 11 hours that you could drive. With breaks in there. It's some stupid shit. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't really have I don't have a desire to do all the crazy shit, or, I really just, people have their favorite places to drive. Oh, I like driving in Tennessee. Or I like driving, I like driving in, like, a beautiful place to drive? Wyoming in summertime. Boring, great. I don't get mesmerized by the scenery or anything like that. Pennsylvania, you know what? Okay, let's get into this whole Pennsylvania thing. Driving in Pennsylvania, I think I have a stigma to that, just because that was the first place that I went through that I didn't have much experience with. But at some point, Pennsylvania is not technically hard to drive. There's a bunch of places that are technically harder to drive than Pennsylvania. Bye, Nancy. There's a lot of places that are technically harder to drive than Pennsylvania. I think that might be a place that a lot of people go through a lot on their first drive. Pennsylvania is just, the thing I hate about the Northeast isn't the driving, because at some point the driving is the driving. It's the parking. It's just irritating. It's like, I don't even know how people live in the Northeast. It's like they break you down every fucking 10 minutes. You got to pay this toll. You got to pay that toll. There's no parking anywhere. Like, nothing is made for trucks anywhere. It's just like, it's just bad. And it's not just bad for truckers. It's just bad for people. Like, you can't even get on the highway without paying money. So, I know that's bad. I hate the Northeast for that reason. It's just not convenient, especially for truck drivers. But even if I was by myself, in a regular car, getting beat out of money every corner you take just isn't fun. So I guess you got to pay to live in a great place, whatever. I just can't pay that much. I'm sorry. Yeah, you got to have another physical. Team driving was fun because I liked my trainer, but I didn't like being tired all the time. So he's coming back to Prime, so he will be training people pretty soon. But I can't. The thing I look back on about teaming is being tired all the time, and there were times that I was actually some of the scariest times I've had in my life was teaming and knowing it was time for me to drive and not being 100% rested was actually scary. Some of the scariest times I've had in my life, or some of the scariest thoughts I've had in my life. TNT with me would have taken 5 weeks, but I stayed on my trainer's truck and stayed there till I didn't get off my trainer's truck or stop teaming with him until I had over 150,000 miles. What? What? I'd answer that. I didn't like team driving. Desert Storm. I was just in Desert Storm. I don't know what that. I wasn't Desert Storm. I don't know what that question was though. I was in Desert Storm. Actually, my unit was the first unit in Desert Storm. At least from the Marines. I don't know who was there. There could have been some Navy SEALs or Delta or something there before us. I don't know, but we were like the first one in the Marines. Winter experience is definitely, and that's the thing that scared me about. Like, I don't think that, you need to have years and years of experience to train somebody in truck drive or anything like that. But it was just that the fear of not being able to control what somebody else was doing, which is probably what would scare me the most about doing it. Yeah, if you don't use it, you lose it. You know what? I don't usually have it either. Just happened to be there. Figured I'd grab it. So, like I said, I was gonna do a video. Probably gonna wait till tomorrow to go ahead and knock that video out. So, I am gonna get ready to get off here and do that. I don't know exactly what like real like hand-to-hand or close quarter combat would be. I have combat action ribbon, but it wasn't like we were, shooting directly at each other or anything like that. So I don't know what any of that stuff would be. Um, as far as the load bore goes, I've heard about that, and actually, Trucker Nene that was on here before, she's on that load choice board. And I don't know what experience you have to be on that. I know that she was fairly new when she was on it. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure that the money would be the reason that I would be concerned about going on that load board. It would be being able to pick where you go. So the hardest thing about just getting dispatched is where you're going. So I would probably take a load, for example, I did a load that was $2,500 going from, it doesn't matter where it was going, but it was going up to the Northeast. I would probably have taken, $800 less for the same miles going a different direction. I'm not trying to, I hate the Northeast, and if it would pay me a little less to stay up the Northeast, I would probably do that. Not because of the driving, but it's just a multitude of headaches that you deal with up there that's just not even worth dealing with. All right. Ramon, hey, I was just gonna get some butter, let it kind of soften up a bit, and then add like some whatever herbs you have. It could be dried or fresh. So if you have some seasonings or spices, whatever, it really could be just about anything. Add that to your butter, whip that up, get your salmon, throw it on top of some foil with some asparagus, and then just spread the butter on top of the salmon and the asparagus, fold it up, throw it in the oven at like 400 degrees for like 15 minutes, pull it out, and that's a wrap. It's just something easy. I was just looking for something easy to do. Yeah, actually, I was going to throw some lemon on there as well. But I probably, I was thinking about doing a video on it, but at this point, I'm probably past video making, and the lighting probably isn't as good as it should be. So I'll probably do some of that stuff tomorrow. I mean, it could be as simple as just salt, pepper, slice up some lemon, throw it on top of the salmon in the foil with the asparagus. I mean, I'm just thinking indoor type stuff where you could smoke it like Elton's done. I was thinking about smoking it, but I'm trying not to be out there in that right now. So anyway, I'm about to get off of here. I do appreciate you guys stopping by. There you go, Elton. Less is better. I do appreciate you guys stopping by. No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. I appreciate it. I'm going to get off of here. And now that I can go live, because there have been several times I wish I could have when I met people at terminals and stuff like that, that would have been a great time to do it. But now that I can do it, because I have over 1,000 subscribers, it would be a great time to do it. Or truck stops or whatever. Anyway, I will check you guys out later. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you later.